It is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world, and only 1% of the victims are ever rescued. Today, we're exploring Human Trafficking Prevention Month.
We're joined by the director of Vanguard University's Global Center for Women and Justice, Dr. Sandra Morgan. She was just appointed to the White House's Advisory Council to end human trafficking. Good morning, Dr. Morgan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
We appreciate this. Such an important topic, a little bit complicated, and a lot of people know about human trafficking. They know that it enslaves more than 40 million people. They might not know how many people, including 60,000 in the United States. But here's what I think. I think a lot of people think, oh, it doesn't happen anymore. It used to happen. But that's not true. It happens now. It's happening in 2020.
It happens right here in our own neighborhood. I'm from Orange County, and in Orange County, since our Human Trafficking Task Force started, we've recovered over 1,200 victims of modern-day slavery. Just in one county.
Can you talk about, I've had this conversation with my daughter, she's 15, and we've talked about this, and she knows about it. But she kind of thinks, and I said, no, let's talk about the places it could happen. It could happen while you're getting out of the car going to the mall with your friends. It could happen when you're taking a walk from one friend's house. It can happen anywhere. Can you talk about that?
Well, there's three elements that really help us understand how human trafficking happens. One is force. That would be like the van story that you're talking about. That's much less common than the second form, which is fraud. Someone who's recruited because they were offered a job that doesn't really exist, and especially if you're from a difficult situation, maybe facing housing
socioeconomic.
You're an easy victim, you're a target.
And so that is a bigger risk. And especially here in the US, there's a great demand for commercial sex. And lots of times we hear stories of victims who were recruited by a boyfriend recruiter, someone who tells them they're beautiful, someone who says, I'm going to take care of you, and then grooms them and puts them out there for commercial sex. Then the third part of it is coercion. They're kept in it by threats. In one story years ago, a young girl responded to an ad to be a model, went in for headshots, they drugged her water, they took shots that were very compromising, and then they told her, we'll send these to your father if you don't do what we say.
It's terrible.
So we've obviously identified the problem. What can we do? What can we say to the folks at home to help prevent this?
Well, my favorite part about January, it is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. We are aware, every time I talk to people, they know it's happening, but understanding how to do prevention, that is the key. And prevention means finding those most vulnerable people, the socioeconomic problems that you mentioned, finding kids who are very susceptible to offers to be a model. So you don't have to have a poor home life or not have a home to be vulnerable on the internet. One of my friends is a DA prosecutor in Orange County, and he told me last year 80% of the victims he worked with had been recruited online. So prevention is teaching your daughter how to know when someone really is your friend.
Right, not to give personal information. Yeah,
Exactly.
Because they talk to so many people. They're talking to kids from other schools, and I said, you don't know that's a kid from another school. Who do you know? How do you know who that person is?
And the recruiters come into our schools and look just like our students.
Right.
We even have cases where the recruiters that were then prosecuted for human trafficking were cheerleaders or
at the school. They're
athletes
pretending to be.
at
gosh.
the school.
Okay, let's talk about the Global Center for Women and Justice. What do you do there?
Education. Education is an antidote for human trafficking. When we educate kids what to look for and do peer-to-peer youth-led prevention, education protects them. We do the Ending Human Trafficking podcast to equip our community, and we do the Ensure Justice Conference every year, and we teach classes. We're a university, so education is our opportunity to equip frontline professionals, our community, and our children.
You have quite the resume. It says here you have a role with the White House Advisory Council.
The Public-Private Partnership Advisory Council was authorized by bipartisan legislation 1312, if you're any of my students are watching, they're
Right.
going to check me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And it's our job is really twofold: to review the 15 federal agencies that are addressing human trafficking at our national level for prevention policies, guidelines, and survivor care protection once we rescue victims.
Before we run out of time, really quickly, tell us about the event that you have coming up.
Ensure Justice, we've been doing that for 13 years. Every year, we want to focus on equipping people to study the issues so they can be a voice and make a difference. Ensure Justice this year is celebrating 20 years of Trafficking Victims Protection Act, and it's March 6th and 7th, and you guys are invited.
Okay, I think we have the information. In fact, we can put it up at the screen. She's talking about the Ensure Justice Conference right there, March 6th and 7th at the Costa Mesa campus of Vanguard University. And if you want more information, visit gcwj.org/events and get all the information. It's an important topic. It's Awareness Month. We thank you for being here to talk about it.
Thanks,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be right back.